Hello, and welcome to the Super Summer Farmers Market program. My name is Kimberly Christie, and I'm a registered dietitian. Today, we're going to be talking about summer squash. This time of year, we tend to have summer squash growing out of our ears. So having a variety of recipes can help keep this vegetable fresh and interesting. Today, we're going to be making 3 recipes. First, we're going to be making a sheet pan roasted veggie and lemon chicken dish. Secondly, we're going to be making a zucchini noodle, or as I like to call it, zoodle, salad. And thirdly, we're going to be making a zucchini pizza bite. So if you're ready, let's get started. Okay, now we're going to get started with this sheet pan roasted vegetable and chicken dish. So the ingredients are simple. You're going to start off with some chicken. If you're in a rush and you need some frozen chicken, grab some frozen chicken. Or you can pre-cook some chicken and have that ready to go as well. Of course, we're going to start off again with some of our zucchini. And now with the zucchini, we want to cut them in a moon-like shape. Some of our zucchinis that we get, especially at the farmer's market, can be very large. So the ones that are very large, we're going to want to take the seeds out. And the reason why we want to take the seeds out is it can cause extra moisture. So when you cut the zucchini or the squash in half, then just take a spoon and scoop. There you go. Now, you can either take this and save it, and you can put it in a stock for later, or you can throw it out. Once you have it scooped, you can take it and cut it in the half moon size. If you're using a zucchini or yellow squash that's larger than some other ones that you're using, then I would suggest maybe cutting these in half so that they're kind of consistent in size. Now, from here on out, the recipe is in your hands. Today, we're going to use some green beans that we got at the market. I'm going to use an onion, some cherry tomatoes that I halved to help prevent choking. And then I have some olive oil, and I have some Italian seasoning and some lemon pepper seasoning. If you're going to do an onion, you can cut the onion in half, and then also cut those in a moon-like shape. And then that will help keep it consistent with the other vegetables. So once you have all of your ingredients together, this is a great time to get the kids into the kitchen and help. Really, all we need is a bag where you can throw the vegetables in, add some of the seasonings, and add some of the olive oil. You can zip it, and let the kids shake it up. So give me a moment, and we'll be right back once we have all of the veggies in the bag. Okay, now that we have everything in the bag, all the kids have to do is shake it up. This is a lot in one bag, so if it's a little hard for the kids to shake, you can always do them in 2 batches. Now, lemon pepper is not always a common seasoning that you have in your house. So do what you do and use what you have. If you have a lemon, you can squeeze some lemon on that and just put some pepper on it. If you don't have any of it, just use the Italian seasoning. Now, the tomatoes, the reason why this is out is it's up to you. If you want to roast the tomatoes with the vegetables, it will make it a little bit more soft, and it will cause it to make it a little bit more saucy towards the end. Or you can roast the chicken and all the other veggies and then add the raw veggies in last. Up to you. That's the great thing about recipes, is that you can really customize it to what you and your family like. So now that we have the veggies all shaken up, has the olive oil on it, it has our Italian seasoning, it has some lemon peppers. This is the easy part. Put it on a pan. It's always good if you throw some around. And then we're going to stick it in a preheated oven for about 15 to 20 minutes. So if possible, I would probably do about half of this on one pan. The reasoning why you would want to do half of this is that the closer the veggies are together, the more moisture that it will make while it's cooking. If you have a little bit less on here, then what will happen is that the veggies will caramelize a little bit more. So again, it's up to you. If you want it a little bit crispier and sweeter, then put less on. If you want it a little bit more saucy, then put it all in one pan. So I'm gonna go ahead and pop this in the oven and we'll be back in a moment. Okay, it's been 17 minutes in the oven and our roasted vegetables and chicken is ready. And my goodness, does it smell good. You can serve this over some rice, you can serve this over some pasta if you would like, or if you let it cool down, maybe tomorrow, you have it over a bed of lettuce. Enjoy. Okay, now we're going to make a zucchini noodle salad, or a zoodle salad if you really want to say it correctly, in my opinion. Now, here you're going to take some zucchinis and you're going to zoodle it. Don't worry if you don't have a spiral to zoodle the noodles. You can also use a cheese grater if you want. If you have a vegetable peeler, you can use it that way. Or if you just want to cube it, you can do that as well. There's no need that it has to be zoodles, but come on, these are pretty fun, aren't they? All right, the ingredients are pretty easy. You need zucchini. If you have some fresh basil, I like some tomatoes. If there's corn at the market and you want some fresh corn, if you want to add a little bit of cheese to it, you can do some fresh Parmesan cheese or even some shredded Parmesan cheese, and then a dressing. Now this one, I made a special homemade dressing for you to try, but if you're in a rush and you need to do this meal even faster, you could use a vinaigrette that you have at home. You could maybe use like a Caesar dressing that you have, a dressing that your kids love. It's up to you. Again, the world is your oyster. So before we get started mixing this, I wanted to show you a couple of tricks. Okay, now this recipe does call for the basil to be ribboned. There's a really simple way to cut the ribbons. So we're going to get started. What you do is you're going to take the leaves, and you can do it one at a time, or you can do several of them at a time. I like to do several. I take it and I roll it up like so. And then you're going to take this here and just slice it. Make sure you keep your fingers downwards like so, so that when the knife comes here, you don't cut off any fingers. We don't like extra blood. And now we have nice ribboned basil. It smells delicious. So now we're going to, if you take a corn on the cob, you can cook this in the microwave real fast if you want to. And then once it comes out, a real easy way to get the kernels off is just to take a knife and cut it off. Now, if you do want to make a nice, bright, homemade dressing, what you can do is you can take a lime. I usually roll it, cut it in half, and squeeze it. Now, one of the ways that you can squeeze a lime without having to get any special equipment is I just cut it in half, and then I take a fork and squeeze it this way, and a ton of juice comes out. Again, if you're in a rush, but you still want to make your own dressing, just get some juice that's already juiced. Now, the other things that are in this particular dressing is the lime juice, some olive oil, a little bit of honey. So again, remember, if your child is under 1, you do not want to give them this dressing. And then also a little bit of Dijon mustard. Not enough that it tastes really mustardery, and about it does give it a little bit of extra mouthfeel. A couple cloves of garlic, and then if you're like me and you want it a little bit of spicy, then add a little bit of a hot pepper in there. This one is actually not spicy. And now for the fun part, we're making the salad. So we have all of the ingredients together. This is where you can have your kids help you. You have your zoodles, add your tomatoes. If you have corn, you can add that. If you want some cheese, you can add that. Sometimes people like to add a little bit of crumbled bacon, so if you want to add a little bit of bacon to it, if your kids love bacon but they don't love veggies, that's a fun way of introducing something that they love with something new. Now again, you can totally skip the bacon and keep it a little bit more low calorie. Add your dressing, just enough to coat. You can add a little bit of salt if you want, a little bit of pepper, and then mix. And just like pasta, you mix it all together. This smells delicious and it looks beautiful with all the colors of the rainbow. At the very end, you can garnish it with some basil. You can keep this in the fridge. If you let it marinate for a little bit, the flavors will meld together a little bit, or you can eat it fresh right after you make it, whichever you prefer. Okay, for the third recipe today, we're going to make zucchini pizza bites. Now you can also do this with other vegetables, so later in the season if there's eggplant, you can also make it with the eggplant. But today we're going to start with the zucchini. This is a fun recipe to do with the kids because they can kind of create their own pizza. You get the toppings, you cut the zucchini, and then let them add it and bake it. And then they'll have something yummy that they created on their own. And the sky's the limit when it comes to toppings. Today I have a couple different ones. I have some mozzarella cheese, I have some pesto, I have some sun-dried tomatoes, and I have some marinara sauce. If you also have those little mini pepperonis, if that's something your kids like, you can put that on there. If you have some shredded chicken, you can put that on there. Or you can kind of go completely away from Italian and maybe do a Mexican one with a little bit of salsa, a little bit of a 3-blend cheese, and go that way. So first off, what you want to do is you want to cut 1-inch, 1/4-inch rounds. Just like so. Now this recipe is great for those larger zucchinis that you get at the market. So cut them like so, and then you can place them on a baking pan. I did put some aluminum foil down just to help with cleanup because when you're a busy parent and you got kids running around, you don't have time to clean up. So a little bit of aluminum foil. Now if you have a brush, you could dip the brush into the olive oil and brush it onto the zucchini. If you don't have a brush, you can use a little spoon and rub it like so. Or if you want your kids to get involved, you can have them put a couple fingers in and rub it on that way. Kids love to get messy in the kitchen. So this particular one, I'm going to do some marinara sauce. Now you don't want to do too much or else it will get a little too watery. So if you can see here, there's just a little bit of marinara sauce on there. And then I'm going to add some shredded mozzarella cheese. Here we go. If you have fresh mozzarella, you can also use that, but I usually have the shredded stuff in my kitchen. So this one, and then you can add a little salt or pepper if you want, or not. You can add a little bit of Italian seasonings. You could add a little bit of basil on here. You can add a little bit of parsley. The market this time of year has a ton of herbs, and again, herbs are a great way to flavor something without adding extra salt. So this one's ready. The second one I'm going to make is I'm going to put a little bit of pesto. Now, pesto for kids sometimes can be a little bit bitter, and other times kids love it. So this is one for them to experiment with. And more likely, if they make it themselves, they're going to be more likely to try it. So put a little bit on. Again, don't put too much because it's kind of strong tasting. The other thing to remember about pesto is that most of them are made with some kind of nut. So if there's a nut allergy, you don't want to have pesto. Now this is not something you always have on hand, but this is some sun-dried tomatoes. So you can either do some fresh tomatoes or like the cherry tomatoes and slice those, put that there, or you can just take a tomato, slice that, add that there. Do that. A little bit more of mozzarella cheese. And then this is ready to go in the oven to bake. You want to bake it at 400 until the cheese is all melty and yummy. Zucchini bites straight out of the oven, nice and warm. So all you need to do from here is to let it cool a little bit because they're a little hot, and plate them up. Now, a tip. If this is still too crunchy for your child, what you can do before you put all of the toppings on is put the olive oil on the zucchini, put a little bit of salt and pepper if you prefer that, and put it in the oven for about 5 minutes. Let the zucchini cook on its own, then you can bring it out and let it cool off again if the kids are going to put the toppings on themselves, and then put toppings on and let it put it back in the oven for another 5 to 10 minutes. Bon appetit! Okay, so those are the 3 recipes that we made today. And with zucchini and summer squash, there's thousands of different recipes that you can use. So it's always something fun and versatile for a family treat. Now, one of the other things that you can make with it is zucchini boats, which is another favorite. And if you check out our blog with the description down below, there will be a link and there'll be several recipes for different zucchini boats. So give us a call if you have any questions. And for those of you who are in the Super Summer Farmers Market program, I will see you on Sunday. Bye! We're now going to make those zucchini noodles, and we're going to stop for a moment.